Yeah, but boy, I'd really like a baby girl so I can raise them on stress. I'm fondest of prospects to father some daughters, raising some bosses. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this, highlighting the losses, fighting for causes, get girls some profits, show you what class is. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this.
Look, it's Conrad and August got ladies who got this. Yeah.
One thing is certain, it's gonna be crazy, yo.
Conversational radio TV.
You know what it is.
Just different.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Arisha Luhanga. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, and a sister. I'm also a founder of a company called Redefine Human Capital, and I sit with an amazing bunch of women on a board called SA Women in ICT Forum. The reason why this campaign means so much to me is because I grew up without a dad. I grew up in a home where there were women who were single, who had children, and everyone in that home looked like me. However, when I went outside this home, I wondered why people on TV, people in corporate did not look like me. And even as I own my own business, I wonder why diversity is not being shown or represented on the boards of most companies. For me, I want a young woman from the place that I grew up in to see that you can do it, you can dream big, you can travel, you can jump off a plane, you can jump off a mountain if you wish, and you will succeed. And diversity is very important. There is a place for each one of us at each boardroom table in corporate South Africa. And guess what? Sometimes we just need to make our own tables. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Sihume Tatomolamu, founder of Gateway Media and the Tatomolamu Foundation and Leaders in Motion Academy. Today I wanted to share with you a campaign that we are running focused on the girl child, the empowerment of the girl child, called Girl Without Identity. You know, I think a lot of young girls today have been broken so much that they haven't felt the empowerment and the love from us as their men, as their brothers, as their fathers. And part of why we as Conrad TV have partnered with the SA Women in ICT Forum is to embrace the collaboration. You know, that if men and women come together for a greater purpose, we can see change, we can drive change. And it's through our actions that we will see change, not our opinions. We'll be running this campaign every single Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. on our live stream on our Facebook page, Conversational Radio TV. Me and my co-host, Muso Matlala, are just showing some love, man. And I hope that you guys will enjoy the campaign. She is proud. Follow us on our Instagram page, our LinkedIn page, with Abundant Media Group, as we unfold this beautiful mentorship program that we'll be initiating in the next coming couple of months. We'll be launching some great initiatives which we would like for you to be a partner to. So if you're a father, if you're a sister, if you're a mother, plug into the campaign, follow our story as we fundraise to start a mentorship program academy for young girls to find their sense of identity so that they must know that they're included in the bigger economy, not only of South Africa, but Africa, so that Africa can showcase the talents that are in there and just embrace the beauty that Africa is. And for our mothers to know that us as the boy child, as the men, we love them and that not all men are trash. So make sure that you plug in, and our live stream starts today on the 7th of August on a Friday. See you there.
Baby girl so I can raise them on stress. I'm fondest of prospects to father some daughters, raising some bosses. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this, highlighting the losses, fighting for causes, get girls some profits, show you what class is. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this.
Look, it's Conrad and August got ladies who got this. Yeah.
one thing is certain, it's gonna be crazy, yo.
Conversational radio TV.
You know what it is.
Just different.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey! Welcome to Conversational Radio TV. It's a Friday, and if you're wondering why Musa and Tata are not here, that is because we are taking over because it is Women's Month. They have relinquished their seats for the Girl Without Identity. She is Proud campaign, and I'm here with Ntabi.
Hi guys, I missed you so much last week. I was on a well-deserved break. Actually, no, I'm lying. They had me doing makeup, so I couldn't be on screen, but I'm back. But I'm back, guys, and it's so good to be back. I'm looking forward to today's show. We've been with Sonwa since 9 o'clock in the morning. We had another engagement around gender-based violence. So, guys, it's going to be a great show. It might tend to be emotional. I got a bit emotional this morning as the ministers were talking about gender-based violence and realizing that so many other women are affected by gender-based violence. They have been victims themselves. And it was quite heart-wrenching. It got a bit emotional. But I'm happy to be back. My name is Ntabi Mukitimitlamini, and I'm happy to be here.
You're looking amazing.
Thank
You cannot
you.
tell that you spent every day awake. You haven't slept because you were preparing for the show, for the event this morning, right?
Yes. So it's been chock-a-block. We've been preparing the whole week. I haven't slept, I think, since Wednesday.
Wow.
So for 2 nights I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep, sorry. But it was worth it.
Right.
It was worth it, yeah.
Right. So the week has been absolutely amazing. Last week we had the women who were talking to us about wellness. We had Vuyo, we had Aza, and we had Rufense.
Oh, yes.
Fit Girl Fense.
Yeah.
And they were talking to us about wellness. We're talking about health and just overall wholesomeness. And then the week started and boom, we have yet another GBV case. And so we thought this week what we should be doing really is just covering GBV, talking about our experiences, as well as what the industry is doing in ICT, but also what the country is doing around GBV, because certainly I don't think the country is quiet. We heard the president declaring GBV a second pandemic. He then went on to launch the National GBV and Femicide Strategic Plan. Under I Am Generation Equality.
Yeah.
And you guys did something phenomenal.
We did, and I think what is coming out and what I'm hearing a lot from South Africans is it's enough talk. We've done as much talking as we can do around gender-based violence, yet every other week, every other day, actually it says, every other 1 in 3, every how many seconds a woman is killed or raped? 20.
I think it's every 3 seconds.
Every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That is alarming.
That is absolutely, and mostly perpetrated by people they love. Isn't that just scary? Yeah. People they love, their family. I mean, when we were talking about this, we actually discovered that in Africa, 71% of deaths are by of women and children deaths are as a result of killings by their partners.
That is actually sad,
and their family.
It is so sad to think that. And mostly it's by partners, right?
Yeah.
So this is someone that you used to sleep.
Oh my God.
On their chest.
Someone who you were sending messages and saying, "Mom, I'm in love." Or,
yes.
You know, I think I found the one. It was a guy who you trusted your life. You trusted your kids with.
Yes.
Can you imagine how scary
it is? It's
just
very
is so
scary. To actually think you're more at risk being at home than being on the streets. I think for me, every time I think about intimate partner violence, I think I'm actually not safe at home. And that is very scary. So I'm looking forward to us discussing, especially what we did earlier today, the conversations that came up with, and as well, what you as a South African woman in ICT launched, the GBV engagement platform.
Okay, before you give it away, let's welcome all the conversations online. I see Muledi, I see Lena, I see Bongs. Welcome, guys. We encourage you to please join the conversation, ask us questions. Unfortunately, our first guest, Sfiso Dube, could not make it today, but Sfiso Mtetwa is going to be joining us in the later hour. Right now, I'm actually going to interview Ntabi, Because
wow.
this whole conversation that happened this morning that we're actually talking about was her brainchild.
Yeah.
And I really just want her to unpack her vision, to tell us more about it, because I think also South Africa should know, I really think South Africa should know what we are doing. They shouldn't just sit back and think that, GBV is just the president's problem.
Yes.
They should know that they themselves have got, capacity to do something about it. And so I really wanted to unpack what we did, but I also encourage everyone at home to please join the conversation, ask us questions, ask her questions, because I've decided the show is going to be about
Easy
Ntabi.
questions, guys. Easy questions. Please,
Okay.
be nice to me. Be easy on me.
So let's first start off, Ntabi, with your vision. When you came up with this, what is this vision? Let's start with the vision. What was the vision? How did you come up with it? And what was your thinking in terms of how you should go about it?
So the vision was, I was tasked with looking at the Women's Month campaign for the Media Development and Diversity Agency. That's where I work. So normally, when it's Women's Month, we'll either have a motivational speaker or we'll get gifts for ourselves, massages, spas. And I thought on the 15th of July, when President addressed us at the second Imbizo, virtual Imbizo, he said, gender-based violence is a second pandemic.
Yeah.
As we're fighting, as we're dealing with COVID, we have this other pandemic, which is gender-based violence. And it cannot be correct that women keep on getting killed, they keep on getting abused by their partners. So I thought, for this year, let's do something different. Let's do something that is not just going to impact us as an organization, but that's going to impact South Africa. And I sought out to collaborate. Luckily, I come from the ICT industry. So I set out to collaborate with some of the organizations in the ICT industry, as well as GBV civil societies or civil organizations such as Soul City Institute, for us to come up with a program that wouldn't just be another talk shop, a program that is going to have impact, a program that is going to have tangible outcomes, and the support has just been amazing.
Hasn't it just been overwhelming?
It was overwhelming. I actually said for the first time, I wrote to my CEO, I'm like, I actually don't have anything to say. For the first time, I'm so overwhelmed about what happened today. It was emotional. It was emotional. But most of all, we came up with a solution. And I know you don't want me to get the cat out of the bag.
Yes, because I want us to talk about the
Yes.
conversation itself first. So you failed to mention that you did this in under 3 weeks.
Yes.
And you you failed to mention that this is something you literally called all of us and said, listen, guys, the president has spoken. Let us come together. Let us collaborate. Let us use technology to bridge the inequality gap. If you guys are saying, indeed, technology in the sense of 4IR is going to change our lives, let's literally show how does it change our lives in under 3 weeks, Ntabi.
Yeah, it was actually in under 3 weeks of planning, but this was really the week that we put everything together.
Yeah.
And I think when you're dealing with a subject that is so close to your heart, I've engaged with other women that have said, even I was raped at a young age. My uncle used to touch me. Friends of mine, very close friends of mine. I've dealt with situations where you were scared being in a relationship because someone would either curse you out or they would throw things and you're like, am I going to be next?
Yep.
So when you deal with something that is so close to the heart, that affects women, so I just had to, I'm still speechless. I'm still speechless.
No, you did an absolutely incredible job. And what really touched me, so we had these conversations for Conversations that are listening and Conrad dudes, is that, we had this conversation this morning with the deputy ministers in the presidency, the deputy ministers in for digital communications and for communication and digital technologies. We had Namisa, we had Brand SA, GovChat, it was the SA Women in ICT Forum. We had, Soul City. And Geek Culture. And we also had the Tato Mulamo Foundation. Shout out to Tato for always showing up. And really what for me really touched me was the support from the gents.
Yes.
Because I too was raped at a young age as a child, and I've always said that is not a fight I am going to take up myself,
Yes.
because it's not me, right? It's the men that must stop it. They must stand up for themselves, right? And the way that they all just came together. Do you remember when? So one of the things you tasked us with as the
Yes.
SA Women and ICC Forum, you said, guys, please, we need to build a platform. We need to come together and have an engagement platform where women can have a safe place to interact, ask questions, even if they don't want to leave, but they must have a place where they can be informed, because an informed woman makes great decisions.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
And can we talk? I think, when we're here the first week,
Yeah.
we're talking about relationships with other women. And I'm not sure if it's a bad thing, guys. And I just want to also pose this to our listeners and our friends on Facebook and Instagram. So when we started this conversation rights, I asked Sonabise and the other board members to go and engage with tech organizations. And these are girl, I don't know what to call them.
They girl NGOs that participate in software development.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we actually wanted women, young girls, to come up with the solution. So they are coders in the main. So we wanted them to be the one that come up with the solution. We ended up with GovChat and geek culture. And I actually was saying the other day that I was so petrified when I got off the call for the first time, and I didn't understand, as women, why are we fighting? Why are we fighting each other? What's going on? And for the program to end up being supported in the main, as women, I think we were just the speakers.
Yeah.
But in terms of the tangible support, it really is coming from men in the main.
Yeah.
I don't know, women, I don't know, girls. Do we have a problem working with each other? Do you find that it also happens in your circles, in your engagements? That took me back. And I remember the first time when we started this show, I was saying, she's not my enemy. And to go back and do a program, which we really wanted it to be a woman-led initiative. And then the women, I don't know, it was one of the things that were heartbreaking.
Is it?
For me as a woman, and trying to engage with other women and other women not reciprocating and getting help from men.
Yeah, because I must say the men showed up. I mean, GovChat said when. What do you need us to do? Geek Culture, the team by Tiani.
Yes.
He said, listen, we in, and this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
Right? So I have a comment here. Tietso.
I hope I didn't touch a nerve.
No, she says, thanks Ntabi and MDDA for a very strong voice and action plan on GBV. It was very touching. So clearly, she was watching the panel itself. What were some of the key highlights that came out of the panel that you really you thought these are things that we need to take forward?
I think for me, what stood out the most was the issue of the parents. Let me just say your family, the role that family plays or can play in the fight against gender-based violence. If most of the violence is perpetrated by people inside of your family, and what then is the role of the family in fighting? I think that of parents. I think that was a great discussion, because when I think about also when we grew up, we didn't have these kinds of discussions with our parents. So if I was raped, I wouldn't even know how to talk about this to my mother, to my father. So I think that was for me one of the important things. The second one was language. I take it for granted. We have in this show, and we take it for granted that everyone understands English. So can you imagine, especially people in rural areas, in underprivileged areas, or people that are just not literate or understanding of English and able to comprehend some of the messages that we are giving unto them. So in actual fact, we're speaking to ourselves, if you think about it. I thought the issue of language, it came out quite strongly. And I liked how the Deputy Minister then said, I'm bringing it back to you. And I want you guys to work together on this language issue, because it's quite pertinent. So for me, those are some of the things. I'm not sure you were there. I'm biased. I think in one of our groups we're busy patting ourselves in the back, and then someone's like, "I'm a bit biased."
Yeah.
So how was the conference for you, or the panel discussion for you?
It totally took a turn that I did not expect. When you have these conversations, you always expect it to be very well trimmed, proper, very within the borders. And I was really, really comforted and encouraged that the people that were on the panel, the DMs, the CEO, these are renowned senior CEOs who have been in the industry for so long, and they were all coming out and saying, look, I've experienced this, and this is how I've decided to tackle it.
Yeah.
And then you had the males who were saying, look, I have a boy and a girl. I want to make sure that my boy understands the complexities that come with women in society, but I also want my girl to grow up feeling that she can be and do whatever she wants to do without fear.
Yeah.
So that for me, the turn of the conversation really, really took me with a pleasant surprise. But I have a question here from Conversational Lena. She says, what do you ladies think it will take for something to change? Women are being turned back at police stations. They are told to find their perpetrators themselves. Wow. Men in South Africa know there aren't any consequences for their actions. What will it take?
Sure. That I think, and that came out as well in the conference, in the discussion earlier. And I think one of the things, was it Sashali that said that a victim is perceived to be a liar until proven otherwise, and the perpetrator is innocent until proven guilty. You get that as a woman from the moment that you state your case, you report your case. You have the onus of proof is upon yourself. Even when you say to your family, you have things like you should call family meeting. What were you wearing? Things like that. And I think it's going to take us as South Africa saying this is not a government problem. This is not a president's problem. This is my problem as a South African, as a citizen, as a member of a community, as a member of a family. When I see something untoward, be it's been done to me or to the next person, I am going to take a stand. Yeah. So we cannot have silent diplomacy when it comes to gender-based violence. It cannot be that the onus of proof is given or is burdened to the victim. It has to change, but it can only change if we change. And those are some of the discussions we're having, that how do we change norms and beliefs around gender-based violence? Because I think it starts in the mind. And if we can get our mindset and our psyche changed around gender-based violence and how we act, it's going to change. But I think it would be very interesting, and I'd like to have a conversation with the SAPS, with social development, because it is true. What we see on paper, we always say South Africa, we're good in terms of writing. We've got the best constitution. We've got the best plans. But when you go into the grassroots, into the communities where these things are supposed to be getting solved, you get a different kind of reception. So I think... we're starting something there. What are your thoughts around that?
I'm going to say my thoughts, but I want to start off by reading Gilebuchile's comment. She says, I'm watching from Botswana, so hey, Botswana.
Hey.
Where the World Population Review study shows that we are second after South Africa on rape and other sexual offenses. We are currently looking for urgent solutions. So learning and benchmarking from you all, such a heavy topic. Hugs, ladies. And I think I wanted to read her comment because she mentioned a study, and for me, what needs to change is for us to understand the root causes of GBV. So in a study that, it's a pity that Gender Links couldn't make it, but they did a study for SADC region, the Southern African Development Community, around what are the root causes of GBV. And they found that GBV is perpetuated by men who were themselves victims of GBV at a younger age. So they were either raped or violently molested, or they were raised in an environment where that was the norm. It's perpetuated by patriarchal societies where there's unfair cultural practices. It's perpetuated by financial dependency. And then it's also a power trip. Like the power dynamics within a relationship between male, and that also has to do with toxic masculinity, right? And so when we understand the root causes of GBV, then we're able to address it constructively, because then we know, okay, so when we are coming up with solutions, our solutions shouldn't just be focused on women, because we're finding that actually perpetrators are people who themselves, the perpetrators themselves have had GBV encounters growing up. So the programs have to be gender neutral, although harnessed to focus on specific genders, because we experience GBV differently.
Yeah.
We have to speak around, not just speak, but act around women empowerment. Because most women then end up staying because they're financially dependent on their partners. Their partners don't let them work. They married off at a young age. They've never had any skills besides grade 7. You'll be surprised at how many child marriages still happen even in South Africa. Yeah. Then we have to address toxic masculinity. These comments that, and when we speak to Sfiso later, hopefully he'll address, the comments that we just let slide that are actually quite toxic in their nature, and then and ensuring that as we are addressing it, what it will take for me to answer your question, what it will take, and to answer Lena, for me, what it will take is really addressing the root causes of GBV themselves, so that we're not just reacting on the surface.
I like what you're saying, Sona, that it's addressing
the
addressing the root causes, because I think, and not to take away from the work that has been done, we understand the root causes. The studies are there. The research has been done. And it's now that, then what? And I like what you're saying, that it's about addressing the root causes, because we know what are the root causes. The studies are out there to give us what are the root causes. And
I mean, Soul City does very well.
Yes.
The institute you partnered with this morning.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do. And I wonder whether, do we feel as South Africans that these engagements are still enough? Or would we want to move further than just talking about GBV? What I don't know, in addressing the root causes, for me, I think the conversation has gone past engaging as women, trying to find out what is wrong with men. The answers are there. Then what? I think, I really feel like we're there as a nation. We really need to take the next steps. What are we doing about the scourge of gender-based violence? I'm not sure if any of us...
It definitely is a collaborative effort. I see here Conversational Lena responding to the comment around just men supporting, saying it's an unfair comment because she's had lots of collaborative and women support. Maybe we reached out to the wrong...
Maybe we did.
We should have reached out to Lena.
Yeah.
Lena, where you at? We're reaching out to you. But really, what has transpired as a result of the collaboration that we did, I mean, and also not to take away from the fact that SA Women in ICT Forum are women.
Yes, we are.
Collaborating. Yes. And I think what transpired is that we had been asked to come up with a really practical way to find a solution to GBV. Like I said, a place where women can have feel safe to connect, converse, but also taking into consideration that not everyone has access to technology.
Yes.
So really reaching out to entities such as GovChat that understand the connectivity issues we have in our country. So understanding how the platform can be embedded in USSD, understanding how the platform can be embedded in WhatsApp. Really accessible ways, because we're not just Johannesburg. As a country, we have many rural areas that don't have necessarily the type of connectivity and technology that we have. So GovChat is coming up with this amazing technology for us. We're going to be having some input in terms of the content so that we ensure that we're addressing the actual causes from Soul City, right?
Yes, and also that I like the fact that we're not even just creating something new. The link to the Soul City Intimate Partner Violence chatbot that they already had is going to be an expansion on that. But I really also liked that it's going to be developed by young coders. And just, I think, Lena, I might have said it wrongly, but for this particular one, we set out to partner with women. And I think my comment was that it was quite disheartening that, and it's a fact, that we couldn't get women as SA Women in ICT to partner with on this program. However, through Gig Culture, we are having young coders,
We
of which
do.
4 are young.
Female.
4 females, yes.
Yes.
So
How exciting.
it is very exciting.
So they're going to get to have training as part of the... So is GovChat, who's training them? Gig Culture or GovChat?
It's GovChat is
Okay.
going to be training them, but Gig Culture identified them.
Nice. And they're
Yes.
from the Gig Culture pool.
They are from the Gig
Okay.
Culture pool, yeah.
Okay.
And
there's also boys.
Yeah, there's four boys, 4 girls and 3 boys.
Yeah, which
that
I
are
think
boys.
is very, very important from an
is.
education
It
perspective as well, ensuring that our boys are not getting left behind.
Yes, it is.
That it was something that Deputy Minister Kekana raised. In fact, she said, most of the time you'll find that these boys don't even understand why is it that women have extra treatment. They don't even understand that their comment is actually quite perturbing. They don't even understand that what they're doing is wrong because it's such a norm. Which is terrible, but because it is such a norm, they don't quite understand the devastation which they're causing.
And I think it's very important, and I like that bringing the boy child into the conversation. I think that is going to be key, so that some of these beliefs and attitude and stuff, we deal with them from a very young age. So with the Tato Mulamu Foundation as well, the Girl Without Identity, the Boy Without Identity, I think is going to become a very critical part of the of our program going forward. But you said when we're doing the chatbot, okay, I call it a chat. When you're doing the engagement platform.
It is an engagement platform. Hey, non-tech people. It is an engagement platform.
Excuse me, I am no longer in the tech industry. So what were you thinking? What are your thoughts when you changed that from a chatbot? Because the initial brief was we would like a chatbot. And then you said, no. It's not just a chatbot, but it's an engagement platform. What is this an engagement platform and what is it going to do for South Africa?
So, yes, you're correct. The initial brief to me, and I'm always breaking rules.
Wow.
The initial brief was we must bring together organizations to create a chatbot. A chatbot is what you interact with when you go on a website and a message pops up. And then it says, hi, how can I help you? You respond. That's a chatbot. For me, I just found a chatbot to be a little bit limiting. I'm an end user myself, so I want to always ensure that when I'm creating a technology, that the technology is something that is easy to use, that is convenient for me, that I actually can interact with. I don't want an end user face that is just feeding me with information. Yeah. So this is why I then changed and said, Ntabi, please, man, let's make this an engagement platform. Because also we do not want to limit ourselves in terms of how big this engagement platform can go. If it's a chat box, it ends there, it's a chat box. But if it's an engagement platform, then with time we can integrate artificial intelligence in it so that it understands that when Tabi types the word, so before I say it wrong, I believe that when you are at risk of GBV and you're trying to...
The panic button.
What is the phrases? Like, I need your mom's recipe.
Oh, the one, yes. It's like, there's a sign, I believe.
Yeah, this is the sign.
And then also, may you please send me your mom's scone recipe?
Yes.
So I was thinking of going out to get pizza. then your friend knows that
Yes.
is a signal
Yes.
that you're in danger. Yeah.
So when we have an engagement platform, as and when those type of signals, as and when in society we start integrating new ways of communicating, we've embedded artificial intelligence that can learn Tabi, that can learn Sonwabise very quickly and know that when Sonwabise is typing at 3 seconds per minute, she's panicking. Something is wrong. But when she's just typing at 7 seconds per minute, she's really just inquiring for information. And when she's typing at 3 seconds, it can alert a police service, or it can alert a social worker. Yeah.
That is actually amazing. I wanted to actually ask you about the integration with the likes of SAPS, with social development, with the likes of Soul City and other organizations that deal with GBV. This, I think you had said, it's not just going to be awareness portal, or you're just engaging for the sake of engaging. There is going to be a process. Can you just expand on that process that
so we intend on the platform being able to produce things like heat maps, knowing that in this certain area of the country, in this certain neighborhood, in this certain township, in this rural area, there tends to be a lot of violence that is perpetrated. It tends to happen between this day and this day and this day of the week. It tends to happen between these times, because what that does is then it alerts the police stations, it alerts security guards to know that is the areas that they must focus on and start surveillancing during those times. Because remember, police services surveillance according to the data sets that they have been given. They don't just randomly. I know to the naked eye it looks like police are just randomly driving around. They're not randomly driving around. There's actual data sets that go behind where police vehicles must go at a certain time. They're not perfect, but they have actual data to feed into. The engagement platform will also be linked to social services, to ensure that the women are counseled, because it does happen that a woman is in an emotionally abusive or a violent relationship, but they're not ready to leave, and they're just at a point where they just want counsel, and we must respect that. We must definitely respect that journey of that woman's journey. So it does link up to social services. It links up the children who are also impacted into social services, and it also links them up to our. We wanted to link up to our national shelters. We have about 81 national shelters. We have about 81 national shelters in South Africa. And then also, with technology in Tabi, as you would know, with 4IR, so much happens, so much changes within a minute. So much technology gets invented all the time, and we don't want the platform to be limited to what we know today.
Yes.
We want to be able to integrate other algorithms within it that can improve the services for the women. And because this is something that we are initiating as South African Women in ICT Forum, it's mandated by the Department of the Deputy Minister in the Presidency, but also the Deputy Minister of Communications and Digital Technology. So it has government buy-in, and it is something that government itself will be using. So we do want to make sure that it's relevant. We do want to make sure that we're integrating with institutes that have been doing this for a long time, such as Soul City. Because language, as you said, is so important, not just in terms of whether it's English, Xhosa, whatever. No, as in how you phrase something within. We take literacy for granted. Some women will only be able to understand a picture.
Yeah.
Some will only be able to understand a song. And Soul City understands that language. Yes. So we've partnered with them from a content perspective. And I think also what's been very, very key for us is the collaboration. Yeah. There's no ways that we could have done this by ourselves. Absolutely not. And I think also from an MDDA perspective, the ability to be able to broadcast this platform, that it is available, women use it.
Yes.
That your own connection to radio stations, to community radio stations, and the link that you have there, to be able to publicize that we do have this solution for women.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I'm not sure if it was Soul City or GovChat raised around even the use of technology that for me is not something that I even thought of, is that, you know, most of the time these women don't even have access to their phones.
You could actually be speaking to the partner.
Yes.
You're thinking of helping Ntabi,
Kanti.
and yet it's Vusi that's got the phone.
Sure.
And how is that? Is that something that you've thought about in the platform?
Yes.
Or it came out from the conversation today, I think.
It did.
Okay.
It did. So that is something that GovChat has taken into consideration.
Okay.
Lena says, you're so right. More times it's the woman's reputation that gets affected. They're shunned, shamed. Our judicial system has failed women. Dismantle patriarchy, upskill and train the SAPS on how to handle cases of GBV. Have units that are created solely for GBV cases. Educate and equip women and children. Education and upskill men as well, because unfortunately we can't live in a vacuum. Definitely.
That is
The
so
same
true.
way racists get diversity training, we should train and equip men and children too. And
That is so true.
Dibelo says, agreed, sis. It will be a mess if we have empowered girls with no focus on educating boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We won't win this mess if we don't pay equal attention to the boy child. We uproot the mess from grassroots, teach boys about respect, about how to interact with girls, elders, peers, about consent. I think we have to talk to Sfiso about consent.
Yes.
Nah?
Yes. After 5. Yeah.
I'll tell you a very stupid example, but it's an example about consent. About how to speak to girls and women. We have to educate them on why right now the focus is on girls, so that they understand that they're not less loved. Yes, a woman being a queen doesn't mean a man is not a king. They're
That
just
is
less
so true.
endangered.
That
When
is
they
so true.
understand that, they will grow up knowing what we're fighting for.
That is amazing. And I think
Yeah.
this is the content that we should be consuming. We had a very
Oh.
interesting conversation around the content that we are currently consuming, be it on mainstream media, be it on social media. I think we have to have a conversation around the content that we're consuming and how it also contributes to the sort of issues that we see ourselves facing as a country.
When last did you watch TV?
Ish.
Do you watch TV?
No.
I don't. I
I
switched off a couple of
don't.
years ago. Do you?
I used to watch a number of I won't say them.
Okay, please don't. Conrad doesn't want to get sued. I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no,
I'm sure Musa doesn't want that work.
No, no.
Doesn't want that type of work.
I will not say, but I don't because, you know, there was a time, I think, and I'll speak for myself, when I watched Generations, I think it brought a sense in me. I wanted to be in marketing and advertising and all of that. It was aspirational. And I speak under correction, but I think the shows that we have today, especially for us as Black people, for me, they don't speak to that aspiration. And I don't find that there's anything really for me from a content perspective.
Yeah.
I watch the news. I have to watch the news as a communicator. But in terms of the content, no. I actually find myself still going back and listening to Lesedi FM,
Yeah.
the sketches there.
Zina was saying she still watches she went back to watch Intersections
Season 1.
to learn because that's when content was really
Yes,
good,
yes.
really, really good and aspirational. It actually taught us
Yeah.
something. So you raise a very good point. So we have another launch today, which you launched this morning. But I want to read Muledi's quote. He says, my favorite quote that we need to learn as women, then she's a she just has a male picture there.
Oh, sorry.
No one is worth your tears, and the one who is will never, ever make you cry.
I saw that on the video, the opening video that we did.
Yeah.
That was one of the quotes. It was actually one of our colleagues here at Conrad TV, Lebo. Sorry, that made that quote. That also made the same quote. I think it's phenomenal.
So Muledi is Lebo's mom. Hello, Muledi.
Oh! Oh wow! I didn't know that. Hello, Oh.
calling you by your first name. Give me lady. Sorry, ma'am.
Mama,
Thank you
did
for watching.
inspire that quote from Lebo?
She
Lebo.
did, clearly. Lebo stole it from her mom. So we have an amazing song that's leading us so well into, in like from this quote into the song that Zina did.
Oh,
Hey,
my
an election.
word.
It was such an incredible,
my
incredible
word.
quote. I mean, when we told them what we wanted, we didn't think it was going to be this good. I mean, we knew it was going to be great, but my gosh, did Zina go all over? I mean,
Zina just needs to make sure that that song is registered.
is it not registered?
No. We just did it this week. We literally finished the song yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, so we couldn't even send it to stations, which is what we want to do. Remember the campaign, it was launched today, but we have a very long road up until 16 days of activism. And I think that song, I loved how Zina made it an empowerment song.
Yes.
It reminded me that I'm a king and everything.
King in the streets. Like Zina did the things. I cannot wait for you guys to listen to the song. I
guys.
think we're about to go into the song. Well, Zina, Lani, will you tune us in to that song? Ready?
Yes. So we should know where
Okay, we're having a trouble playing that song, but we will try and retrieve it because I really want you to hear it today. We launched it this morning, and I mean, everyone was just going on. I mean, I saw old people on that call really just bumping
Did
heads.
you see the deputy minister?
I was like, yes, girl, yes.
And we took such a risk. I must give it up to Zina. She did this song in a couple of days.
Really?
And we only got it, I think, round about 8 o'clock last night. And I didn't share it with anyone.
So it arrived last night, and you still had to cue it into the program.
Yes. So we
my
finished
gosh.
the program early hours of this morning, because the video as well, the video that was the opening, I think that was phenomenal. We only finished it, I think, round about 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Are you going to share that video? Where do people get a hold of that
We're
video?
going to share it. That's correct. Right now, it is on the Centec microsite that was created for the event.
Okay.
We're going to put it on the social media platforms of the MDDA.
Okay. Is that Twitter or Facebook? Where
It's going
should
to
people
be
go?
on. It's Twitter, Facebook. It's Media Development and Diversity Agency. On Twitter, it's MDDA_media.
Okay, fantastic.
So that's where it was.
Yo. And Sasha Lee, as a program director, guys, women in this country are just so talented, just so amazing, so authentic, so within themselves. Hey?
And Sasha is such a gentle woman.
She is.
Working with her, I think, was a great pleasure. And these are the collaborations. You know, when we started, I think, as SA Women in ICT, when we presented this to the Deputy Minister, she spoke about the need for collaboration. Collaboration is the name of the game. We couldn't have done it alone as MDDA. We don't have the technological background. We do not have the Play Your Part ambassadors, definitely, as that were brought on by Brand SA. We do not have gig culture. So when we work together, as women, as men, as South Africans, I believe in that old slogan of the South African government that together we move South Africa forward. And I think today just exemplified it for me at a totally different level.
And I think we keep reiterating together we move South Africa forward in different ways. If you remember, even the rugby thing was stronger together.
Yes.
Like we keep reiterating the same thing together, together. Right?
That is so true.
Because we can't do it alone.
No, you can't. We can't. Is the song ready?
Are you ready? Woo! Let's go, Zina!
You got the world in your hands, world in your hands. Don't let them take it away, cause you're a girl. You're a king in the streets, a king in everything. Keep on changing the game, oh girl. And you don't have to hide broken. It don't matter who you are, but girl, you're worth it. Your life is priceless. Where you go, your heart is beating in your highness. The world will never treat you right, but you gotta be persistent in your mission and always go about your business. This is something we're missing. We should be uplifting each other. Ayy, cause you're a good girl, a great girl. He should protect girl and save girl. This is a note to you, note to you. Can someone help me say the words? Yeah, yeah. Cause you're a good girl, a great girl. He should protect girl and save girl. This is a note to you, note to you. I don't know what to do for you. Ayy, girl, you got the world in your hands, world in your hands. Don't let them take it away, cause you're a girl. You're a king in the streets, a king in everything. Keep on changing the game, oh girl. And you don't have to hide, oh girl. Up in arms, strong at heart, oh girl.
Yeah, he said he was sick and the blame game just went too far. He didn't mean to do it though, he left a few scars. Emotions and confusion, he ended up being at the bar. At the end of the day, he done end up behind bars. The reports of death are sickening, wounds on their face are thickening. Women are busy threatening, women are busy scattering the pieces that we shattering. Body shaking and clattering, voices they keep on chattering. Protection far from happening. Why? Why should you fear when I'm here? Why? Why shed a tear when I'm here? Why? Why should you be scared when I'm here? Except afraid I'm talking to you. Yeah. Kiwali wena ratibana le wena katika nyana dira sese mole more la pile go thiba kaka o tsolla dipitsa ka fa thuntsa le marole thata la betana la senya le tshwenya le maikutlo a ka madi ka tletse ka bata o le ka fitla le baka khantse di tlhabisa ditlontsha go thuba malapa.
Good girl,
good girl,
a great girl.
Great
He should
girl.
protect girl,
Protect girl.
and save girl.
Save
This
girl.
is a new to you,
New to you. Yeah.
Can someone help me tell the words? Yeah, yeah. Cause we are good girls, we're great girls. They should protect girls and save girls. This is a new to you, new to you. I don't know what I do to you. Good girls, don't know what I do to you. Good girls, don't know what I do to you.
Welcome back to Conversational Radio TV. If you missed our first hour, we were talking about MDDA. We were talking about a GBV platform that we've just launched. My name is Sonwabise.
Hi, and I am Tabi.
And today we're talking about all things GBV. We've been talking about a platform we launched this morning, an engagement platform for GBV. We spoke about an amazing panel that Ntabi actually was the visionary behind, with the Deputy Minister in the Presidency, Deputy Minister Siwela, and Deputy Minister Kekana from Digital Communications and Digital Technologies. So... And we just had this amazing song. And this was part of it, right?
This was part of it. We launched, this is a campaign song, actually.
Is this the campaign song? I love it.
This is the campaign theme song. This is a song that goes with the campaign.
You know it's going to blow up, right?
That's why we need to get it registered. And, of course, Zina, don't forget to make sure that I get my royalties.
Listen, Ratebe says this song, Zina, and I'm also like, yes. And then Lena says, I need this on my playlist. Me too, Lena. I need it. Can you guys sign it up with iTunes or what's the other one? SoundCloud, or can you sign it up?
I think so, but I think we just need to just make sure that everything is done so that Zina and the whole team can get what is due to them. But it's an amazing song. We couldn't wait for all the things, all the copyright issues to be sorted. We just had to launch it today. Zina, what is she saying?
She started messaging me saying Apple Music will know us. Yes, girl, yes.
Yes, girl.
Yes.
Oh, she did the most.
She was absolutely amazing. Good girl.
And you know they were supposed to perform the song today at the event.
And then?
However, technical, we're advised to try and get everything to be pre-recorded. So that, you know how at Zoom, you'll be in your Zoom event, you poke.
You know that thing.
So Zina did this video actually yesterday.
Wow.
She only did the video yesterday.
So the recording of the actual video itself was yesterday, but you just played the audio, not the video. Okay.
Yes.
So the video, the one we saw this morning.
The one we saw this morning was done yesterday.
Please, man, I want to see it on Trace. I want to see it on MTV Base. I want to see it.
Look,
Apple. I want to be my gym. When I'm gymming to at Healthy Body Pilot, I want to be there on some good girl.
King and everything.
You know, please, man, do the things.
And we forgot, we also launched as part of today, Girl Without Identity, which is a program that you are also integrally English for a government communicator. What is the right word? Is it integrally?
That I am in what are you trying to say?
Part of. What is the right word?
That I am part of? You just said
an integral part of.
Is that what you were trying to say? I was trying to figure out if you're saying integrity or integral
an integral part.
I wasn't knowing. You should have just spoken.
King integral. That you're an integral part of. Yes. Please, Girl Without Identity. What is it all about?
So Girl Without Identity is an initiative that is part of the Tato Molamo Foundation. It goes parallel with Boy Without Identity. Yes. And I think when Tato's had the vision to start with Girl Without Identity, it firstly started with Boy Without Identity from his personal background, having grown up without an intimate father. And he wanted to make sure that he was mentoring boy children so that they don't have the same difficulties that he had. And he wanted to make sure that boy children had male mentors even if they were not their fathers, because it's possible for a father figure not to be the one that birthed you.
Yes.
Right? And then he then reached out to me and Makotso at the time, to you, and he said, you know, please can we just make the same Boy Without Identity, not the same because our issues are different, but do one for girls as well. And that's how Girl Without Identity was birthed. And that is in fact why we are here today. We're busy compiling an audio-visual book which will form part of Girl Without Identity, and it will drive the narration that she is proud and conversations that will educate the girl child, just so they don't go through the same challenges that we had to go through. You mentioned earlier around not being able to have conversations if you were raped with your parents. And so letting the girl child know that it is okay. Let's have those conversations. She's not alone. And in fact, she is enough.
She is proud.
I think Zina is going to get us into videos now. We are ready, Zina.
Hi, my name is Andrea Campbell. I'm a commercial attorney at Microsoft, the treasurer of SA Women in ICT Forum, as well as the treasurer of the Information Technology Association of South Africa. Girl Without Identity is important to me because growing up, I was faced with a lot of adversity. My mom, as a black woman in South Africa, struggled to find employment, and as a result, my dad was a single breadwinner, trying to put myself and all my siblings through school and university. I quickly learned that I had to be self-sufficient and I had to find ways to secure my future. I was left knocking from door to door to try and put myself through university. I eventually was told that I had the possibility of getting a NAFSIS loan. The interest rate on the loan was pretty significant, and for a law degree over 4 years, it added up to quite a bit. So after school, I spent majority of my young working career paying off my loan. What it taught me was my eyes were open to a lot of inequalities. I struggled for a long time to understand why I wasn't afforded the same rights and opportunities purely based on the color of my skin, which was no fault of my own, and it's not a ugly thing, it's a beautiful thing. And I don't think any woman or girl child in South Africa or globally should go through the same struggles. We need to lift as we rise, taking each and every single girl child with us.
Hi, I'm Tabim Kitimidlamini and I'm the Managing Director at Beauty by Pops, as well as a board member at the South African Women in ICT Forum. I'm very proud to be part of the Girl Without Identity, She Is Proud campaign, as it speaks to the ethos of what we believe in the South African Women in ICT, that we lift as we rise. As women, we face a number of adversities, be it in our workplace, in our personal lives, and it's important that as women we stand together and lift each other up as we rise.
I'd really like a baby girl so I can raise a monstress. I'm fondest of prospects to father some daughters, raising some bosses. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this, highlighting the losses, fighting for causes, get girls some profits, show you what class is. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this.
Look, it's Conrad and August, got ladies who got this. Yeah.
One thing is certain, it's gonna be crazy, yo.
Conversational radio TV.
You know what it is.
Just different.
Hey. Welcome back to all the Conradesses and the Conrad gents that are watching. Lena, we will definitely make sure that before the show ends, we reiterate the programs that we are running and how to get a hold of them, and most importantly, how to become part of them and how to collaborate with us. And next up,
Before next, I actually just want to give a shout out to Lena. I know she's been with us since day one.
Conradesses.
Yeah. Thank you.
Shout out every show.
I can last week in Elengapile. You had me in makeup. So I don't know
is this
what
your
happened
shout
last
out
week.
Yes,
it's my shout out.
So we dubbed her the Conradess of
Conradess Lena. We
she's
love
the
you,
original.
Conradess
She's
Lena.
the original. Every single show it's so comforting
Yeah.
to see her face, to see her type out. In fact, if she didn't, I would get so worried. I would actually call up everyone to say, hey guys, please check up, how's Lena? Where is she? Can you...
Yes,
we should
she's
probably
actually part
have
of
her
the team.
details, because then I'd literally get worried. Where is Lena?
When are we having Lena on the show though?
Well, Tato and Muso better have Lena on the show. I've asked them, like I've said, guys, we have to have Lena on the show.
They should.
Our Women's Month show, unfortunately, is already jam-packed. We've got like a lineup and it ends next week.
Oh, it's next week already. Tato, Muso, can we be back in September? We promise to be good. I can't believe a month goes.
It's already a month. It's already August. Next week Friday is our last Friday as the woman who got this. Hey. I'm telling you, it's gone past so quickly.
It did, yeah. And thank you, Lynn, again. The content that comes from the team on Facebook.
I know, right?
It is
all
amazing.
The Conrad listeners and
it is amazing.
The questions they pose and how much they interact with us. Yes. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming on board every single Friday to watch us and to just give us your views, because at the end of the day, this is also your show.
It's a conversation. It's not a one way. We're not just talking. We're having a conversation. And I think the Conrad listeners, man, you guys do the most.
They do. They actually drive. You guys drive the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. And we forgot to mention that we look this way because of Beauty by Pops.
Thank you.
Which angle?
Thank you.
All
angle?
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's start feeling ourselves. It's time to introduce our next guest, our only guest today. Well, you are my guest, actually.
I'm your guest today.
You were my guest.
Hey, you think I'm part of you guys?
Tabi was my guest today, my
Thank
second
you.
guest. And now he's our guest. Sfiso Mthethwa is an attorney. Ever since I've known this guy, he doesn't even remember, but ever since I've known this guy, he's been fighting GBV. He's been a male ally. He's just been on the side of the women. He's lost friends. This guy has always just been authentic about supporting women.
And you're saying how he doesn't even hesitate when there is an issue. He is the guy that just, gets up and goes and helps a woman. I think those are the men that we need. We need more Sfisos.
And they just...
Yes, and we actually have. There's always in our communities that abuti. Who's like Sfiso.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
You won't even ask. You don't have to. The burden of proof that this was done unto you does not befall on you. Here, you walk in, he believes, and he's going to assist you. We really need more men to step up.
So, with that said, help us to welcome Sfiso Mthethwa. Come and join our conversation. Sfiso, let's give him a drum roll. Woo!
Hey. Conversational
Hello,
Radio
hi.
TV.
Hello, hi.
Good?
Hey.
Okay. Hey, Sfiso, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Conversational Radio TV.
Thank you.
So background on the show. The show is we actually not the host. We've just taken over because it's Women's Month and we can do whatever we want to on Women's Month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took over this
whole
whole.
thing.
Yeah.
In fact, it's ours.
It is.
They
Right?
should just hand it over. but I'm kidding. It's part of an initiative that the gents who run the show thought we should embark on, and it's the Girl Without Identity. She's proud initiative, and they've asked that females run the show, and we create conversations that they're then going to take into an audiovisual book.
Okay.
That will then help to create a different narrative for the girl child and her upbringing, so that she doesn't go through the same struggles that we had to go through.
Yeah.
That you're still going through.
That we're still going through here.
Yeah.
But before we even get into that, please introduce yourselves to the Conradesses that are listening, as well as the Conrad gents that are listening today.
Hello,
Who
hi.
are you?
I am Sfiso Mthethwa. Umfana kanyambo sujobe.
Yes.
That's from my father's side. If I go to my mom's side, Ukhila, Otangano Potlinj.
Alala.
That's the Njoli side. There's a lot about me, but mainly I'm a practicing attorney. I work at TM Mahapa Inc., and I'm happy to be here.
Okay. Do you want me to fix your mic? You look...
I don't know whether I should.
Just feel at home.
Okay.
Conversational Radio TV is
Can I
home
hold it
away
like I'm
from
a
home. You can be
Okay.
all up in here. You can do whatever you want. Feel at home, please.
Cool.
Were you offered water?
I was,
And then?
and I've finished it.
Okay. So you're fine?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're a practicing attorney, but so what do you do in your sort of daily work and as a practicing attorney?
Okay. So we at the firm we run a general practice firm.
Okay.
I actually don't even know where to look. Am I gonna?
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation.
No, I mean,
Do we intimidate you, Susan? By the way, you're the first and only male.
He is.
An only male guest we've had since we've started the show in the beginning of August.
I feel
Don't
proud.
feel
Is
intimidated.
it not going to be the only male for the whole month?
the only guy?
Yeah, the whole month. So, yeah.
Well, I'm
home.
I've been around a beautiful woman since I was born.
Oh.
So I feel pretty comfortable.
That must have been your mom.
My mom and my sister,
your
my
sister.
grands.
Okay.
I think I've been blessed in that way.
Yeah.
So
Has that driven your outlook in life, or?
Definitely. I think I see, well, to a large degree,
a lot of people in my family will call me like a mama's boy or Gogo's boy if you're from my dad's side. My dad still feels a bit undone because my grandmother named me Sfiso because she wished for a boy. He was the only boy in the family, so I became her last born son. So I won't lie, I've been privileged for the last 37 years. I've been privileged, and I think it's kind of how I see the world. I see the world slightly softer than what I would if I was raised by my dad and my grandfathers. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I see the world. So to answer your question, yes, I think it has played a large part to how I see the world.
Zintle says, Danki Attorney General Sfiso Mthetwa.
Attorney General.
So someone says, Sfiso our hero. And then another person says, Conrad Sfiso. Isn't a hero like your...
So that's... hero is my nickname / stage name.
Stage name?
Yeah. I DJ in my spare time.
I feel like you just need to start over. Like, can you just start over? Where were you born? Like, how did your life trajectory work? Like, what happened? Because wow.
Because wow.
I was born in Springs, in the East Rand. And I was raised in Springs for the first 6 years of my life, and then I moved to Mafikeng, which is where I kind of learned Setswana. And moving to Mafikeng also. Yes, you can ask.
So you learned Setswana in Mafikeng, which means you were born.
Springs is kukhulunywa isiZulu.
Okay.
A mixture of Zulu and it's a Kasi. But I see myself as a Zulu guy with a Xhosa soul because my mother is Xhosa and I was raised by my mother.
Okay.
And I'll probably say her name one or two more times.
We like that. It's Women's Month. We like that.
And then, so I then lived in Mafikeng for like up until I was a teenager, 16, and then I moved to Cape Town. Moved to Cape Town, stayed in Cape Town until matric, then moved back to Joburg, went to Wits, which is where I met this lady here. I studied law because my mother said I need to go to varsity. I didn't know what I wanted to study. And as a result, I picked out law just by randomly. I just closed my eyes and I picked a university and I got into Wits. Wits is the best institution in the world.
Amen.
No, guys, it's
thank you.
No,
it wasn't it's not a debate. Was it a debate? I think it was facts. This is like law.
Is the best.
This is law.
You better know.
Uppington.
Please.
No shade. And I think whilst in varsity, my love for the entertainment space came about. I was on campus radio. I was head of policies, but I didn't really develop any policies. I think I was just, it was a title they gave me because I was doing law.
Okay.
So I did the drive time on that show, and in varsity, that's when they then started calling me Hero. And that's why it's Sfiso Hero Mthetwa.
Oh.
That's where the hero comes from.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't come from your GBV activist.
No.
It precedes that.
Yes,
so you've always been like a hero.
Wow, sissy. I've just always been called like hero.
But why? Is it?
There's a friend of mine, which is like him and I used to call each other hero.
Oh.
So, there's things that we found like dope that we thought we were doing in varsity. And I would say, when are you my hero? And he was like, no, you're my hero. And it just kind of stuck.
Bromance.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
But I think from what at least Sonwabisi has told us, you have been a hero in the community. So that's why I thought it had something to do with
the hero.
with the hero. But we've heard some good things, and I think we would love to hear more about your role. You said as a lawyer you don't really practice as a human rights lawyer at GBV.
So here's the thing. For the last 7 years, okay, so let me go back. So I finished varsity, and then obviously the normal route you take, you do your articles, and then you write your board exams. So I finished my articles, I did my board exams, and then I started working at PwC in the immigration department. And this is because I was a qualified attorney, but it just didn't move me, didn't motivate me. And I was still trying to find my feet, this is my 20s, living a relatively wild life. And then I moved from PwC, I then went into practice. Okay. But my best friend and I, we then decided we actually don't want to have bosses. We want to be our own bosses. So we then started a construction company, and I left law altogether. For the last 7 years, I haven't been practicing. And then within running the construction company, I think at some point the pull or the need for purpose became overwhelming. So we're making money, we're building houses, but it just didn't feel like it was enough for me. And which is why I went back to law. I came back to law. And funny thing about coming back into law, one of the first cases that I actually got involved in was a rape matter. And it then thrust me deep into GBV, and it seems as if that is kind of where I need to be focusing my energies, because it seems as where that is a passion, the injustices that we see around the world. Everyone needs to play their part, and I think GBV is one of the biggest that I can play a part, small as it could be, and that's it.
So, tell me, for those that don't know, what is the process if you have experienced GBV and you want to report it? What happens? Where do you go?
Well, what ideally you do, you would open a case. You'd go to the cops, and we have seen the system doesn't really cater to women. So it's one of the things that at the firm we're kind of working around changing is how a survivor of GBV would actually go from point A, which is being abused, to going to point B feeling safe. Because before you even report anything, you want to feel safe. A lot of I think during the lockdown, if you were getting beaten up by your husband, where would you go? So we're kind of trying to address the system and kind of saying, look, the police have failed in keeping us safe. And I say us because I feel I'm part of that community, so that is the first part of it. You need to report it, and it needs to be investigated, and being made safe would mean the perpetrator is then behind bars and kept away from you, and that is the first part that I think is the most important part. A lot of people are afraid of that first step because one, society is built in a way where you are always questioned as to the authenticity of your claims, so you start to doubt yourself when you think a sexual act has been carried on you, like, no man, he was just flirting. We've been socialized to think, oh, maybe this is how he shows love, and this is from both men and women, you know what I mean? So I think it's very, and I don't like when we say GBV, it almost makes it such a normal thing. We say GBV, we talk about like PPE, you know, like CCV, you know, like it's you know, it just seems like one of those things that happens.
Yeah.
You know, so when you speak about GBV, I like to say, look, it's gender-based violence, you know, but it's because it is violence, you know, and it's a violent society we live in. So let's not treat it like just another thing.
And you know, there's a feeling, or there's a thing that when a woman reports a violent crime, especially rape and stuff, that there's almost the onus is on the woman to prove that.
Yes.
Do you find that with the cases that you've handled, this is the case? And what has been some of the things that have been done to assist women, especially when they're reporting cases of gender-based violence at our police stations?
Well, I think what I've seen, the first thing you need to have is a strong support system. A support system meaning when you go and report a case, you are able to, and this shouldn't be the case, but you should have someone with you, right? The support system then also speaks to when you are in court, when you're at a police station, the sensitivity in which they take down your information, and I think it's not only something that needs to be addressed by the courts. It's just us as humans. I think what I've seen, a lot of the survivors, the biggest support system is actually activists. Activists making a noise outside, you know, supporting someone during a trial. That has been one of the biggest things for me that have made it seem like we're moving in the right direction in terms of having support. And if I look at for instance, the one matter that we're currently doing, the survivor didn't have anyone to help her even just pay legal fees, for instance. If you can't pay for legal fees, how are you actually going to go through with the case where someone is trying to gag you for reporting a rape? You know, so there's the first thing that you need a support system that's strong, and the support system through different channels, be it in the media, be it how we actually perceive GBV, because I think how we use language is something that isn't also taken into account, because as you were saying, the victim always has the onus. You know, it's how do you prove that this actually happened? And when we use language, we say vusi. We'll say like a poppy raped by. We don't speak about vusi raped. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because we're saying this person, this fictional person, this poppy. Why don't we put the onus on her? Where show us on the, you know how when you're younger, show us on this doll where he touched you. But who's he? Where's that boy who actually touched you? You know, so I think the first thing is we need to change how we see sexual violence.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things that we need to change.
So Vuyo says we need more men leaning on mother figures to channel their soft side. Once that soft side creeps in them, they want to surpass it with violence because man and soft is uncomfortable, and it is not what society expects from them. Right? And then Lena, which is she's asking, why did your firm choose to fight GBV? Well, gender-based violence. No more GBV.
No more GBV.
No more GBV. Gender-based violence.
Yeah.
Well, I think the matter in which we're currently doing found us. We hadn't even put out that we are a firm that deals with GBV. We do a lot of other work, and I would say the criminal cases are minimal, you know, but they seem to find us. So I think when you exude a certain kind of energy, like the universe kind of sends that kind of energy back to you. So if you say let's face gender-based violence head on, the universe will say, okay, how ready are you? Here's a case. Deal with it. So I think that's how we landed with that matter. But I think going forward, it's work that I didn't have too much difficulty convincing the partners that we need to make a priority, because I think we feel very equally strong about it.
You know, you touched on something there that's very important. I think financial dependency.
Yes.
What avenues are there for women that are unable to pay their legal fees to carry the process through? What are some of the avenues that they have at their disposal?
Well, legal aid. Legal aid.
Is it good?
Well, I can't really comment on how good or how efficient they are. I think they've got their caseload is heavy. There's some people who've had good experiences, some haven't. There's you can go to the vets clinic, University of Witwatersrand.
Not University of Pretoria.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So there's a clinic that they have there, and there's various other if there's various other platforms where you can go and seek legal assistance. What we're currently working on a clinic ourselves. But we also don't want, what you sometimes get in law firms, this kind of work, they call it the hard work. It's pro bono. So if you do this kind of work, you're doing it for free. But if you're doing work for free, when you've got bills to pay, how much attention are you really going to put in something? So when we're conceptualizing the clinic, all the costs that come in would be carried by the clinic. So if I'm an attorney, my rate is 1.5 an hour. I need to get paid 1.5 an hour, and we need to then source that money. And if you're a victim or survivor, you then will come to the clinic, and it will be free. So there's that avenue that we're kind of working on. But I think overall, there's a couple of ways in which women can access the courts, but good lawyers cost money, and this is just a fact. Anything that is good will cost money. So the lawyers that are available at LegalWise, they're good, but they're overwhelmed, I think.
So you're currently working on a project right now.
Yes.
Do you want to indulge us on what this project is about? And
okay, so there's a foundation, and this, I promise, this is the last time I mention my mother.
We don't have a problem with your mother. Mention your mother.
So when we moved to Mafikeng, my mother worked at one of the first English words actually you could say was counseling. So she was at the counseling center at the University of Bophuthatswana. It's called the Uni West now, I think. So she did a lot of work with students, and I didn't realize how much that affected me until much later in life. So I think 2 years ago, it's 2 years now, she then qualified to be a doctor. So she's a doctor of philosophy.
Well done, mommy. Well done.
So, and I said to her, we rarely celebrate people whilst they're still alive. So why don't we actually start a foundation in your name? So we registered that, and then whilst that was happening, there was a project that I kind of been working on for a year. So it's called Project Be About It. And the idea is, I think in my first year at FETS, there was a march about abuse and against violence, But ever since that time until now, we've all just spoken about it. We've never really done anything, and I've seen that speaking about it isn't enough. unfortunately. Speaking about it, we speak about it all the time. We speak about it to the point where the women who actually get killed, we forget their names. So the reason why I then thought of the concept, I thought, let's be about it. And it's meant to bring together people from different fields. So I'll give you an example. From the first part of the project would be there's a couple, but would be a pledge. A pledge, a simple pledge that says, us as men, South African men, we pledge not to abuse women. But instead of it just being a normal pledge where you pledge and then you move on with your life, we plan to actually hold people accountable. So when you're part of this pledge and you come to a company and you say, I'd like to do business with you, the company then says, okay, have you signed the pledge? And you say, no, I haven't. They'll say, sure. Why haven't you signed the pledge? Are you not really serious about fighting gender-based violence? You know, I think it's a very, I've just summarized it very shortly, but I think it's a simple way in which we can build social currency. Yeah. And that social currency is basically saying, these are the type of men that we want to be, and these are the type of men that we want society to do business with. You know, so that is the one part. The second part was inspired by. I was in Somalia in February. So there's a friend of mine, Ilwad Aman. She runs an NGO. So it's like it's a foundation where they take care of they take in child soldiers, because in Somalia there's been war since 1991. Yeah. So what the army in Somalia is fighting now, they're fighting Al-Shabaab. So Al-Shabaab will take kids who are between 7. They'll come into a village, they will kill all the men, rape the women, and then take the kids and then say, you are now in the front line. So they take those kids and they put them back into society and try to show them a different way. Put down the gun, pick up the pen. So how I thought about it is they also do a couple of safe houses. So if a woman has been a victim of gender-based violence, there's a house that she could go to, where she could just rock up with nothing on. There's clothes, there's medical care, there's safety, so that you before you even take a next step, we go back to what I said earlier, you're safe. Yeah. So the second part is safe houses. So the second part of this project is safe nets. So the safety nets would be all around the country. It was so inspired by my trip to Somalia, but also a friend of mine, his mom had passed away, I think, last year, KP. So Dr. T had a foundation, and in the foundation, she basically wanted to do this kind of work. So KP said, look, why don't we do this together? So I said, Dr. T ran the biggest female-run construction company, black female-run construction company in South Africa. Yeah. Why don't we use those resources and build these safety nets? So we can either build safety nets, or we can plug into the system and see all of these shelters that are currently available. What do they need? Do they need to be upgraded? Do they need? Do we need to make female-friendly bathrooms? There's different kind of things that we could plug in and do. So that's the second part of the project. And the third part, I think I've already mentioned, is the clinic. Yes. There's also the fourth part. I think with Corona, everyone is kind of using the phrase new normal, But before Corona, the fourth part was called the new normal. And the new normal is basically, it came about as I was speaking out a bit more, people used to ask me about, all right, so if I'm a perpetrator of gender-based violence and I want to reform, what do I do? Sure. And initially my attitude was, go seek help, go try and see who can help you. But if you're going to do a turnkey solution, you have to be able to provide those kind of spaces for men who, one, don't know better, one, who want to do better. So it's going to be a range of, obviously it would have to be with doctors and psychologists, people who can kind of guide you and teach you simple things like what is consent. I used to think I know what consent is until I sat down with someone and they actually explained how deep the concept of consent goes.
I'm going to ask you to explain the concept of consent, because it's a very, very important one, and one that most men actually have no clue about. Even the most empowered men have no clue about. But firstly, just to say that you've been given a hashtag for your project.
Oh.
Did you have a hashtag? It's hashtag Be About It.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who's that from?
That's from Lina Sinisi, who's
Shout
our Conradess of the decade.
Lina.
Yes.
Shout out to Lina.
Yes. And she also says, I volunteered at a police station and their behavior is appalling. No empathy, no sensitivity, no care or interest to help a victim. Also, male officers are terrifying and they harass and strong arm us, guys, into giving up phone numbers. Imagine. And it's such a scary situation to be in because those people are in power. Then Dibelo agrees with you. She says the pro bono avenues available are also overwhelmed because of lack of funding and also frequency of cases, which would be considerably low if men stopped abusing women. The sexual offences court doesn't have capacity, and gender-based violence is an issue which needs human and capital resources. And I think your project is really addressing both human and capital resources. And just to commend you, first of all, for even tackling it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think one of the weirdest places to be is having to convince men how serious this is. It for me it's a no-brainer, but also I can see how it seems like not an important issue because we've had marches, and when you say men should stand up and do something, I think the first thing we always think about is a march, and I think my advantage is I've had a lot of women tell me the wrongs I've done, and they've told me how to do right. And I've listened. And at no point would I sit here and say I'm perfect, but I'm very willing to listen and see how best I can contribute to a situation as a person sitting on top of Privilege Hill.
So talk to us about consent.
Consent,
Yeah, unpack it for us, what you've learned around consent and the learnings you have around consent as a man, because that is such an issue. Gosh.
Well, I think a friend of mine, she said to me, when a woman says to you, what you're doing is making me feel uncomfortable, and your answer is, but I'm only, she kind of was showing me how as soon as someone says that, there's something that you're doing that isn't within she hasn't given you consent to do. So how we usually do it, we try to remedy it by downplaying her feelings. So we'll say, but I'm only just asking for your name, So when we talk about consent, we talk about you doing something that someone has given you consent to, and we kind of think we know the generic meaning of it until someone asks you about a sexual experience. So I'll give you an example, something I learned very recently, actually. If there's two of you and you both are drunk and you engage in sexual intercourse, you aren't able to give consent if you are under the influence. So technically, that is rape. So I was like, I mean, but we're both drunk, we're both doing this. Why would it not just...
She's probably not even going to remember in the morning.
Exactly. You know?
I just need to... Both are drunk.
Yes.
It is rape. The woman has been raped. Is
Well,
that...
the woman was not in a position to give consent.
Oh, okay.
Right? So we then say... So now I see you looking at me in a confusingly way because you're like, what does that mean? We both are drunk, right? But the ability to consent to sex, once there's alcohol involved, it kind of diminishes. You know, so my understanding of consent is, as I said, is limited to things that I've read up on and things that I've experienced, but it's far deeper than a simple yes
or no.
Or no.
Yeah, and even that the element of, but I got you a drink.
Yes.
I mean, so I'm entitled to you today.
So I think what then that happens a lot. We don't communicate our intentions, I think, efficiently. So if we go out and I buy you a drink and I say to you, you know, Muskuti, at the end of the night, sit together. You know what I mean? So if you know exactly what that means, at that point, if you then say, no, but Puti, whether you get me, you know what I mean?
Drinks.
Yeah.
Literally.
But in our society, we were not, no one says that. No one has that conversation. No one says, no, we can get drunk and you can buy me these drinks and I will then go home, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's because we don't have those conversations, men feel it's normal and therefore I'm entitled. So now that I've spent all this money and you don't want to engage in sex, then I'm just going to take it because just like you took my drinks. You know what I mean? Because since you didn't communicate that, then and that's how it kind of works. That kind of it comes from a sense of I'm entitled to your number. You know, hey sweetie, what's your name? Why would you not give me something as simple as your name? You know, but guys, we don't realize that for you walking down the street, you're already just trying not to get killed. You know, you know that if a phone number or you speaking a certain way to someone could lead to your death. There's so much more that you have to consider, even coming to the studio today. Yeah. You know, all I had to worry about was this traffic by Ecosmo. You know, I was like, you know, it's Friday. You know, it's level 2. You know, you have to make sure that your car is locked and you're not. You sometimes you even wear a cap because if I drive to this, they think I'm just a female. They might actually just kidnap me, and not kidnap you because they want anything else, but they can. You know, they can kidnap you. They can,
sure.
and so those are the things that for me like really bother me, and yeah.
I think it's even more scary when it happens like at a police station. I found whether it's I'm going to do certify or I need to report something. There's always those nuances.
Yes.
And now you can imagine it's someone that at that time they're more powerful than you. And it's just so uncomfortable. And I wonder, it's actually true, we need to have more of this male education, starting from a young age, from the boy child, so that they are aware about all these things. I think that is quite important. You know, one thing that I have been thinking about as well, we talked about affordability in terms of legal fees, but there's also this issue where women are financially dependent.
Yes.
So I'm with you. You beat me up. I go to a safe house. I'm there for a couple of months. When I come out, I have to come back to you.
So those safe houses would have, how I envision it is at that safe house, you're empowered with a job.
Okay.
Because financial abuse is also a strain of abuse that people, you know what I mean?
Abuse,
Because and if you, and finally I was drafting something the other day in a divorce matter where this guy had decided, actually, I'm not gonna pay for anything anymore in retaliation to a fight they had. And people generally don't consider that abuse because they're like, oh, but you can eat there's a roof over your head. But the promise was when you married me, and we had this conversation that I'm going to be a housewife and I'm going to get a 20,000 allowance. If you take that away, because of the power dynamics in the relationship, you are abusing me. You know, you are abusing me in that you're limiting the way in which I'm able to live. And so, going back to your point about resources, it's very important that when you take someone from a situation and you put them in a safe house, you don't just take them out and take them back into the same situation, because you know then it's just a cycle of abuse. And especially now that now people have seen that I'm this kind of person. Now I'm madder than mad. So that is one element we're trying to kind of address with the safe nets as well.
And I think also getting the woman to make their own money via owning their own jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, their own companies and using their skills, giving them skills in order to make money for themselves outside of just having a job, which I've seen is something that some of these NGOs are now starting to do. So just back to our audience. They're saying, Conradis are saying, everything stems from consent. We need more awareness around educating men about consent. The wide definition of consent doesn't get enough attention or awareness. And it's burdensome that victims have to be educators. Double jeopardy. I tell men all the time, I don't owe you a hello. Right?
Yes.
And men feel so entitled.
Yes.
They
No,
feel-
but it's a
and when
little
you don't-
hello.
And when you don't, they start
yeah,
I'm like, no, I don't have to say hello back to you.
Yeah.
They feel so entitled to that. And I think really around educating the boy child even. I remember talking to a psychologist about my boy because I was trying to find ways that are progressive to teach him to be a better man. And she said, even little things like when you're trying to get him to move out of the way, say, excuse me.
Yes.
Before you hug him, say, boy, can I hug you? Before you change him, boy, can I take off your clothes? Can I put them on? Can I? Because you're teaching him permission. You're teaching him to request for consent.
Yeah.
And small things like that are things that we don't realize that they actually have a psychological effect.
I've got a 13-year-old son. He's just turned 13 2 weeks ago. One of the things we're kind of learning, I'm teaching him, is I asked him, what do you know about accountability? You know? And he went and he Googled the word. He's like, yes, this is the word. I'm like, so when I ask you whether you've done your homework and you lie to me, that's not you being accountable. But if you say, actually, Tata, I fell asleep, and I'm sorry. That is you dealing with the same set of facts, but you now just being accountable. And it starts with something as simple as homework, because now when he starts dating, he's going to have to be accountable to his girlfriend. And that's a lesson that he can't learn once he starts dating. It's almost too late at that point, because a lot of the times when we start dating, I mean, I've never had a conversation with my mother or my father about dating. I just got in and just hoped, the streets got me, and I realized that the streets actually don't got me. So it's exactly what you're saying. It's we need to start investing in our future through our kids, because there's only so much you can tell a 21-year-old. You can still but at 21, his whole personality is formed. He's what he's seen in the first 20 years of his life is probably how he's going to treat women going forward.
This is why you can't change a grown man, woman.
No.
Like if he's grown, don't try to change him. That's who he is. If he shows you who he is the first time, that is who he is.
But I've changed. And I've changed. I've rebranded.
Have you? Have you changed yourself? Was it a woman? Was it a woman who was?
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Was it?
Next point. Next point.
Yeah.
next
Okay.
point.
Thank
Next
you.
point, sis.
Thank you. So we on that we're about to wrap up. I just really wanted to raise is that our conversations are saying gender-based violence has a wide definition. And I think this is another education point that we have to have around physical, emotional, verbal, mental, gaslighting, understanding narcissism, understanding financial abuse. And also, Lena saying we give out our phone numbers to diffuse possible fatal situations.
Yeah.
I remember even last week having a guest, I think it was Fenze, who said when she goes running, she started going with a partner because when she used to go alone, she used to see men around and she used to think, okay, how do I escape this? And it could be just a normal man standing on the side of the street, but for her, we live in a country where we constantly looking. How do I escape the situation? So how do we become part of Project Be About It? # Be About It. How do we support? How do we?
Okay, so the Project Be About It, right? I think it was announced prematurely, purely because of you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
So we're still finalizing a couple of the legalities. I kind of tried tweet a lot. A friend of mine said, like, you can also tweet about other stuff but gender-based violence, but I tweet a lot about it. So you can on my Twitter handles Fiso Hero Mtetwa, there's going to be quite a bit of it. As to what the next steps are, where someone could play a role, but overall, in a bigger launch when we can have more than 50 people in a place, where it says, okay, this is us. Where can you play a part? You know, guys, we've been getting told we need to step up. Yeah. Here's an opportunity for us to step up. You know, and so. I think you if you look out on my social media page, you should see a bit more on it in the next couple of weeks.
Fantastic. Well, that was Fiso Hero Mtetwa. Indeed, he is our hero. One of our listeners said, "You are seen and you are appreciated, Hero Sifiso."
Who's
right?
That?
I think it's Lena.
Is it
Lena has got so much
Shout
content.
out to
Even plug the at. The at Lena is at Swiso Hero Mtetwa. Dibelo says, thank you for this conversation. Thank you, Hero, for the work he's doing. I really hope that hearing men being as passionate about protecting women as you are will become a norm. Thank you, Hero. You're loved.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah? Thank you for joining us. Fiso, your closing remarks and tabs?
I think we've had a very emotional day. I still say I'm very overwhelmed about this whole day.
Yeah.
And having Sfiso here has just been an eye-opener. I've learned, I think, when I was doing the offender rehabilitation program, the language that we had to learn, like referring to correctional centers, not prisons, you know, that kind of language. And I'm realizing the importance, actually, of calling it gender-based violence. It's not GBV. And I think even that has done something in my psyche.
Yes.
And sensitized you.
Yes, it has. It has sensitized me, definitely.
Remembering that it's violence the whole time. Violence.
Yeah. I had a very interesting engagement with men on one of the platforms that we're in, saying that our panel, or everyone that was part of our gender-based violence online panel discussion and the program, was female, and that we do not talk about violence against men. And I think I said something, maybe it was controversial, it does happen, but for the purposes of this campaign, it's about women. We cannot look
be unapologetic about
it. Why should we be apologetic about wanting to do something and raise awareness and take action against violence, violence against women specifically. So I think we really appreciate. We really want to be part of Project Be About.
Hashtag Be About It.
Be About It.
No,
we
we
are
definitely
in
will be.
Girl Without Identity, Boy Without Identity.
She is proud.
She is proud. Beauty by Pops. We do training. For the Girl Without Identity, actually,
and
in
that's
Alex.
actually a way in which
Yes,
GBV, gender-based violence victims, can actually learn and also do their own businesses.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. It has been a real pleasure. Thank you to my co-host Ntabi, who was my guest earlier. Thank you to Sfiso, our hero, our live living hero, and please thank your mother and your gogo for us, and your sister for us as well. All right. This is Conversational Radio TV. We would like to thank our partners, MSMM, TM Foundation, Gateway Media, Brand Connection, Media Connection, SA Women and ICT Forum, Beauty by Pops. I hope I'm not leaving out anyone. It has been a real pleasure being with you today. Have an incredible Friday and a glorious rest of August Women's Month. Oh, and Silverback. How can I forget our beautiful photographers?
Can we ask Sfiso something? He's a DJ, right?
Yeah.
I want to know. And also, what is his favorite song? What do you do when you get on the decks? What is that song?
Sure. It depends where I'm playing, but there's a song that Beyonce did on the soundtrack of.
Yes, I know it.
What is it again?
On the King, the Lion King one.
No, not the
Black
new
Panther?
one. No.
Which one? No, I get that. I don't
know Beyonce songs.
Yes, every time I have to think about a Beyonce song, I kind of black out. But that's like it's a gospel song.
Temptations.
Yes,
Temptation.
from Fighting Temptations.
Which one?
Na, 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 na.
With that. Bye, Conrad.
Yes, that's the one.
Loves me.
That's the song.
Thank you, Sina.
That's my joy.
You spin me out of control, and I'm not sure what to do anymore. Your hand is wrapped around my neck like a noose, but I know that I'm falling in love with you. I want you to spin me around until I can't feel my feet. Move with me, baby, till our hearts make one beat. Show me the world so my eyes can finally see. It's always been you and 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 me. It's always been you and always been you and always been you and me. I want you to spin me around until I can't feel my feet. Move with me, baby, till our hearts make one beat. Show me the world so my eyes can finally see. It's always been you and me. Life, oh, life just flashes It's always been you and 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 me. It's always been you and always been you and always been you and me. I want you to spin me around until I can't feel my feet. Move with me, babe, until our hearts make one beat. Show me the world so my eyes can finally see. It's always been you and me. Baby, say my mind is consumed by the thought of you. This I know, without you, baby, I'm not sure what I would do. I want you to spin me around until I can't feel my feet. Move with me, babe, until our hearts make one beat. Show me the world so my eyes can finally see. It's always